Hey everybody, Dr. Dan here, and this is the last lecture of History 3380 Business, Technology, and American Society. And we're going to close it out with a section on Steve Jobs. And as you recall, last week we learned about Robert Noyce and we watched a documentary. And as you recall, at the end of that Noyce documentary, Noyce was talking to Steve Jobs, who was the fledgling founder of Apple Computer at the time. And Jobs, is very similar to like Henry Ford, who we talked about a few weeks ago. He's stubborn. He has a vision of the product that he wants to sell and the way he wants to sell it. And Apple Computer and Steve Jobs himself certainly goes through some ups and downs, but becomes very successful in the end. So, as you know, or most of you know, the story of Apple Computer, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak get together and start to design and build the first Apple computer in Steve Jobs' garage in Cupertino, California, out there in Silicon Valley. And Wozniak is really the engineering genius behind the design of the computer. And actually, Steve Wozniak was here at the University of Toledo last year for a lecture. And so Wozniak has the engineering prowess and the vision on how the circuits work and how the software should work, and Jobs is really the marketing guy and really puts together the architecture too as how the operating system should run and what it should be able to do. So instead of a reading this week, you're going to watch a 60-minute video on Steve Jobs called One Last Thing. It's a great documentary. I think you'll get a lot out of it. And I want you to understand the parallels between someone like Henry Ford and Steve Jobs as far as their stubbornness is concerned and how they are driven by a single vision. I think that it's an important characteristic as we look at the history of business people and as we have all semester, that this idea of taking control and having a firm vision and promoting it leads to success in many cases. You know, when we started this semester, we started with this idea from Carl Degler that capitalism came over on the first ships. And we talked about free market capitalism, and we talked about the development of business and the development of technologies all the way through the early 1800s with the first transportation technologies, through to the Gilded Age with big industrialism and big capitalism and sort of the build out of the American infrastructure. And on top of that, now we see that infrastructure turning to service industries, and we see the rise of communication networks as new forms of efficiencies take over the workplace and also revolutionize the way we communicate. And Jobs understood this. He really felt that the computer and the ability to publish yourself on the computer, to express yourself on the computer, was a new phase in really business and also a new phase in society in the country, that individuals could do their own thing. So he was really interested in making the computer a tool that would help people express themselves and help them be successful. So really this idea of business has gone full circle. Jobs was a believer in free market capitalism, but he was also a believer in letting people take advantage of the free market, and one of the tools in which people could do that was the Macintosh computer, and that was sort of the way he thought about things. So I think it's a good way to close out the semester. We've gone full circle. The next video will be a brief final exam review. Everyone's doing a great job in class. I'm sure you're all looking forward to getting out of school soon. Have a great week and take care. Bye-bye.